Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. After the top 64 deck profile from my friend, now I'm gonna present you my own deck profile, what I played the past weekend at YCS Bologna. And this is the first time I got super close to like a big top card at the European YCS. I went 8-3-1, sadly losing the last round of Swiss, round 12 against Drizzels Beast in a very unfortunate game 3. But I think I played a very interesting deck that only a few people played in the tournament. I played Fiend Smith, Kashtira, and I think it was a very good meta call for the event. And now I'm gonna present you the deck list. So we're gonna start with the main deck. So this deck is very different compared to every other meta deck in the current format because you're not relying on like a super heavy engine and doing like any crazy combos. The main part of the deck is actually hand traps, but it's gonna be divided into 3 parts. We have the Fiendsmith engine, so we have 3 Engraver, and even more important, 3 Lacrima. I think Lacrima is basically the most important card of the deck because this card is so hard to interrupt and so hard to hand trap, and it's like the heart and soul of the deck because you are grinding, you are generating resources, you are generating advantages. This card is just amazing, and I had many opponents in the tournament who hand trapped this card, and most often they hand trapped it wrong because if you get like Ash Imperm Veilot on this card, you can go into like Requiem and then still like summon an Engraver. So yeah, if you want to stop this card completely, like all 3 effects, because I'm gonna show what you can do in the opponent's turn as well, you're gonna need 3 hand traps for this one card. So we have 3 Engravers, 3 Lacrima, 1 Luri, double trucked, and the last card, Fiend Smith in Paradise. Also a card not a lot of people know about. This card has 2 effects. The first effect is the on-field effect. If you have like a level 7 light higher, level 7 or higher light fiend, you can target that monster and non-target send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. I think I never used that effect at a tournament, but I had a game in testing on Dueling Book where I played against Math Lab, against the Cannon Lab, and I went like first and had the chance to search this with Engraver because it's like a Fiendsmith spell trap you can also search. And then I built up DS Array and had this. And then my opponent went set 5 pass, and in the end phase I went trap card, target my DS area, and non-target send all 5 of his Labyrinth traps to the grave, and that was like very good. But the main interaction point of this card is in the opponent's turn. Usually, for example, if you get hand trapped, you have Lacrima and Requiem in your graveyard on top of your board with like some Kashtira cards or like a Caesar. And then what you're gonna do is you do Lacrima effect, shuffle it back to the deck, summon out the Requiem. And since Requiem is a quick effect in both main phases, you can just activate it again. Then you summon out the Lacrima and then you use Lacrima effect and send Fiendsmith in Paradise. And that's now an effect. When your opponent special summons a monster, you can banish this card from the grave to foolish a light fiend. And what you usually do as like an interrupt, you foolish another DS Array. And then on resolution, you can use the effect of DS Array, shuffle back your Requiem or whatever other light fiend you have in your graveyard to send a card to the graveyard. And especially against like decks like Fire King, you can just let them commit. And at some point when they special summon a monster, you do that effect before like they set up an Avatar negate or like the Holodazamina, the fusion negate. You can send the Fire King Island to the grave, and then the whole board is gone. Or you can send Snake Ash or like any crucial combo pieces against no matter what deck you play. So this is like a very powerful interrupt. And since you can set it up on the opponent's turn with Lacrima, most often your opponent does not see it coming. So they don't play around it. They don't expect to have like, just with Lacrima Requiem, have another layer of interrupt, because usually Lacrima is just like follow up in the graveyard. But here it's a very strong card. And I'm very happy that I played this card. It was, I would say, the MVP of the deck. That's the Fiendsmith package. You could even argue to play a third track because you want to see at least one of those cards every single game. Because not with hand traps only and like the Kashtira cards, it's a bit more difficult and you're a bit more vulnerable to hand traps. But you also don't want to break on those cards. If you see like 2, it's fine. But if you see like the same card twice, it can be a bit dangerous. So I think this ratio was fine. I think everybody else who played like the same deck, like Puck and like the Red and Trade guys, they also played like the same Fiendsmith ratio guys. They only changed up the Kashtira cards a little bit. And now we are coming to the Kashtira cards, triple Fenrir, triple Unicorn, triple Field Spell. I even play Terraforming and 1 Bird. I think what's different in my list compared to what the other played, nobody else played Terraforming, and I think a few people cut the third Unicorn. but I really wanted to see multiple Kasht cards to set up of both Unicorn and Fenrir. And even if you don't hard draw like Lacrima or Engraver, you can use like 2 of the Kashtira cards and then just go into the Fiend Smith engine via Moon of the Closed Sky, and then even revive like at the end of your combo a Fenrir with Birth or like with Unicorn. So the Kashtira cards were very strong for me, and as you see, we have like 2 engines who work very well on its own. They're generating advantages. You can remove resources of your opponents with Fenrir, Unicorn, and Birth, and like the Fenrir defensive cards. And they were basically the perfect answer into the format because we decided to play a lot of hand traps. I think I played 20 hand traps, and I was even on the lower end of the hand trap count. I think the other guys played 22, 21, sometimes even 23 hand traps. And we have like the good hand traps, of course, Ash and Imperm. I also played Domino's Purge because you're not using water, fire, or dark attributes a lot. I think the only hand trap that would be influenced by this card is Ash. But if you have Ash and Purge together, you simply use Ash first. And I think the only dark monster I couldn't use would be like Necroco Princess, but you never use the on-field effect. And then like here Zeus and SP, but it never came up that like the negative part of Purge was relevant to me. And then I also played 3 Ogre, 3 Mourner, 3 Veiler, and double Nip. I think Puck played like the same lineup. He played like 2 Joel, and the Red and Trade guys also played triple Ghostball. I think Ghostball was a pretty good inclusion. I didn't thought about that. I was happy with my hand trap count. Maybe going forward I would not play Nibiru anymore because your purpose of the deck is to stop your opponent early. And you don't often come into like a point where you can actually nip your opponent. And if you decide to hold like nip and one other of those hand traps till like the end of the combo, yes, you can like clear the whole board. But most often your opponent has follow-up, and it's not always given that after nip and a hand trap, with your limited amount of engine, you can play through their board and like the whole follow-up. Because the idea is that you're always grinding with your opponent, and the game is not always over on like turn 2 or turn 3. But you want to remove as many resources from your opponent as possible, and then you just slowly win like the advantage game with like the Fiendsmith and the Kashtira cards. And yeah, that's for the main deck. I played 41 cards with the extra terraforming, and I was happy with the list. And now we go to the extra deck. A few things different here, but at first we have the Fiendsmith cards. I played double Requiem, double Sequence, and double DS Array, together with like 1 Necroquip, 1 Moon, and 1 Agnum Day, what is very important for the OTKs. I think most people play 2 Requiem, some people play the second DS Array, and almost nobody apart from Puck played the second Sequence. My idea was like, if I already play those as a double, I need to play the second Sequence. Otherwise, if I go second into like a Kashtira Unicorn, then 1 Unicorn Rip is like destroying. I only play 1, the 1 gets banished. Those 2 are dead, this 1 is dead. Like a lot of cards are not usable anymore, so I thought I want to play that. But in practice, the second Sequence never came up. The second DS Array comes up if you use the effect of Fiendsmith in Paradise of your trap. Then you send 1 DS Array as a trap, and the other one you can just fusion summon. And the second Requiem comes up every single game, I think. So I was happy about that lineup. If you want, you can cut like the second Sequence. If you're not afraid of Unicorn, you can cut that one to play like an IP Masquerena, for example. Because I think that's also like a very good card. Then for the Exceed, I played Caesar. That's usually a part of your end board. If you don't know what you play against, you make this one with Lacrima set up for the Fiendsmith in Paradise Engrave, and like, if possible, with Kashtira cards on top. Then M7. I almost never made this card, but in theory and in testing it was very good in the grind games because you can recycle your own hand traps. Then I played Gaia. That's the Exceed you put on top of those. If you battle with them, you can put Gaia over that and then make like a 4 material Zeus. Or if you use like M7 effect, detach 2, recycle an Ash or something, or like one of your hand traps, you can still overlay Gaia, battle, and then put Zeus on top. I also never summoned that. I think I summoned Zeus like once. Typhon summoned a few times because you play like a hand trap Kashtira deck, what is like for advantage. So you're often in simplified game states. So this card came up like a few times. And then SP Little Knight. So yeah, that was the extra deck. And for the side deck, where I also did a few different choices, I decided to side deck the 6 Charmies. I think that everybody else also did that. A few people did not play Fulvorus at all, and I would even agree with that. Fulvorus was not a good card for me. I mainly was siding Purulia, only against like the huge combo decks like Jubel, for example. Fulvorus was better. But in general, against like a lot of the stronger decks, you side the 6 Charmies in going second, you exchange some of your hand traps where you don't know what are good in the matchup, and maybe you side out like singular engine cards. You can side out like some unicorns, the terraforming, maybe one tracked, maybe one engraver, depends always against what you play. But here, I think the cards were fine overall. I think I maybe used Fuvaros like once in the whole tournament. And then we have 6 going second cards here, and then the rest cards are for going first. I decided to play 2 talents and 1 called by against hand traps. Against most matchups I sided those in. Called by was also coming in going second against a few matchups like Tempai against Seals, against Promising Princess, against Fire King. So it was a very good card for me. And I was even close to main decking this, but in a hand trap advantage game, if you go second, called by going second is not that good. That's why it was only in the side deck. And the last 6 cards were triple deck lockdown and triple judgment. I think judgment was pretty common. Deck lockdown was like my pick of choice for going first, and I think it was very good. I even had like a game in round 10 on day 2 where I went first against Jubel in game 3 and I opened like 1 Lacrima, 1 hand trap, and then triple deck lockdown, and I was able to like 7-turn deck lockdown my opponent and just win by like the 0 beatdown. And yeah, you can also side deck this card going second in Tempai that you force out Seal. And it has like many applications against many different decks. Sometimes it doesn't fit exactly into your game plan with like the hand traps, but for me it was fine overall. I think the other people play D-Barrier on Solemn Strike, or like additional hand traps for going second, like here Delta and Gamma and stuff like Jack Vermo played. But I was happy with my side deck. The only thing I did not play, and I probably should have played, was like siding 1 copy of Kashtira Rise Heart, and maybe the Kashtira Shangri-Ira, because that package is like very good against Tempai if you get shifted, and usually Tempai cannot occupy you undershifted if you have like Shangri-Ira and 2 Fenrir there, and the Rise Heart just helps you making that if you have only 1 Fenrir to search the Rise Heart to make the rank 7 exit. Okay, that's it for the deck list itself. A few last words what I can say in terms of like how I got to the deck. Huge shout outs to Pack, because I tested with him for like 10 days before the event and we like developed this deck. At first we even had more Kashtira cards. We had like triple Teosis, triple Birth, Scareclaw, Kashtira, Rise Heart in the main deck, and only like 1 Lacrima, 1 Engraver. And then we slowly realized how strong the deck is and how good defensive cards are. And just at like 1 day before the event, we also found out that like there's a German testing circle who was also playing that deck. So also huge shout outs to Rate and Trade, because I think they came up with the idea first and built the deck like a few weeks ago and kept it a secret until the very end. And I think they performed very, very good with that. And yeah, it was like a very good chance for me, I think, because I never had the opportunity before to play like, in my opinion, like by far the best deck in the room, by far the best deck in the tournament. And only a few people had access to it and nobody knew about it. So it was like a big deck edge or advantage for me. And yeah, hopefully I'm able to have that again, because I think it was like very, very close to me getting top 64. And if I played a bit better, I could have definitely made that as well. And here are some final shoutouts. Of course, shoutouts to my team, United Kozos. We traveled together and met many people, even from like NA and stuff. My teammates Bobby and Sven got top 64 and top 32. So shoutouts to them. Shoutouts to the people I traveled with, to my roommate, and yeah, to my girlfriend who's always supporting me. And here, that's it. And hopefully see you soon on the YouTube channel again with some more videos. And please like and subscribe, and peace out.